NXT from July the 1st, 2025 was a pretty okay show. Next weekend is the Great American Bash. The card is rather weak. We will talk about that. So apparently the venue that they're going to be in Atlanta, they're only going to go for, I think, 750 to 800 people. So it's almost like they're doing like a TNA-sized venue, which is not good, but it is what it is. But you can tell that WWE doesn't really care about this show for whatever reason. I have no idea why, even though they are going to go up against All In. So, whatever. But it is what it is. So, we kick the show off with the first match of the night. Joe Hendry defeats Wes Lee. Towards the end of the match, High Rise got involved, and then Mike Santana showed up to make the save. And post-match, Joe Hendry and Mike Santana, they had a stare down with Trick Williams, who was on commentary. So this is going to be a triple threat match, which is fine. I figured that that's the route they were going to go, especially on TNA last week when Mike Santana mentioned that he was wanting to go after the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. So this is fine. This makes perfect sense. So, there's that. Moving on. So Tatum Paxley doesn't know why Ruka and Zarya pulled her away from Izzy Dame's corner last week. Ruka says that that they're preventing Tatum from doing something she would regret, which is what good friends do. Tatum needs to realize that Izzy Dame is not her friend. Izzy Dame joins the conversation. Izzy knows that Tatum didn't mean to cost her the number one contenders match last week. Her intentions were pure. Izzy may have lost the match, but she feels like she wants Tatum friendship. Izzy hopes that Tatum feels the same way. Zarya says she's had enough of this. My bad. If Tatum wants to fall for Izzy's crap, go right ahead. And then Izzy tells her and Tatum will become a good tag team. And Tatum says that Izzy's right. Okay, that's fine. There, makes perfect sense. I like this. I don't like her joining the culling because of Shawn Spears, but I do like 2/3 of the culling, that being Nico Vance and Izzy Dame. So, yeah. Moving on. Next, this leads us into the D'Angelo family breakup. It's over, which is insane. So, Luca, he calls out Tony D. He says he's been questioning his loyalty since Stand and Deliver, that being Luca Cristofano. So Tony D comes out. He says the reason why he hit Luca was because he can't trust him, and he's basically paranoid. So, Luca says that loyalty to him is leaving college with 1 year left of eligibility at his university. He said loyalty is turning down job offers from top-tier law firms in the country without hesitation for a job that he wanted since he was a child. And for a chance to be in the WWE. He says that without a doubt, he's never done a damn thing to doubt Tony. Never. He said that's loyalty. So Stax shows up, and Stax says he thanks Luca for helping him out last week. If it wasn't for him, he wouldn't be the new Heritage Cup champion. So then Tony D says this is exactly what he's talking about. Luca Cristofano tells Stax to shut the hell up. And then Tony says that this is between him and his consigliere. And then Luca drops Stax. Luca drops both Stax and Tony D with a right hand. So this whole thing's over with. This makes perfect sense, I guess. I guess they're done with it. There's nothing more you can do with this storyline because they did put him on Evolve like weeks ago, so there's nothing else that can come of this. And I guess Tony D, I guess him and Stacks, they can continue their feud. Hopefully it happens at the Great American Bash, and then after that you can put Tony D on the main roster. In my opinion, that's just me thinking out loud, but yeah. So yeah. Moving on, this leads us into Obafemi. He has a backstage interview with Kelly Kinnaid. He didn't really say much of anything. He's going to keep his eyes focused on both Jasper Troy and Inamura. So Inamura just shows up and just tells him that he's hungry for competition and that he's going to be the one to face Oba at the Great American Bash. I don't care about any of this shit. I'm a fan of Obafemi, but he has to have better opponents. I mean, Miles Bourne was cool, but Inamura, nah. Nope. Moving on, Miles Bourne defeats Lexus King. Makes perfect sense. He wins via the, I guess, zigzag. So that's fine there. But, I mean, he reminds me so much of a young Randy Orton, but he really shouldn't be ripping off Randy's moveset because Randy still is wrestling. Don't do it. But it makes perfect sense. But why would he do the zigzag? Maybe give him like a net breaker or whatever. But, this is fine there. Moving on, this leads us into Dark State. They basically say nothing. They said that they're going to continue to cause havoc and chaos. Not really all that important. Moving on, this leads us into Laney Reed versus Thea Hale. Laney Reed wins. Match was pretty okay for the most part. Both girls look good here. Although I am shocked that Thea Hale lost because she's been on NXT for about, 2.5 years? So I don't know why she's losing to Laney Reed, who's been in Evolve for maybe 2-3 months. I don't know. But, I mean, Laney Reed is good. I do like her. And Thea Hale's great. But Thea Hale should, for damn sure, be higher on the card, if we're being honest. She really should. But I guess because the NXT women's division is so stacked, that she's fine in her position, I guess. Same with Jada Parker. Both of them should be higher on the card. You can also throw Lola Vice into that mix as well, but with WWE acquiring AAA, she's fine because she'll be working AAA shows from time to time, so yeah. But, I mean, it's fine there. I don't know what the point of this match was. Maybe we could see the two of them form a tag team. I think that would be great if they're trying to rebuild the tag division. I don't know. But I think that's the only logical conclusion I can come to at this point in time. Because if they're just feuding for nothing, that's not good. But who knows what's going to happen moving forward. Moving on. So Ren Sinclair's glad that Tavion Heights is still part of the No Cutter Catch crew. Charlie Dempsey says that Tavion's loss to Javon Evans last week proves exactly why he needs more time in the NQCC. Tavion is not going to make any excuses. Tavion wants Charlie to give him the same deal that he offered Miles Bourne a one-on-one match. And if he wins, he's out of the group. Charlie accepts the offer. However, if he wins, that being Charlie, they're not going to have this conversation again. And then the two of them shake hands. This is very, very interesting. If Noam Dar was not injured, I could see him maybe being the one to join Charlie's stable. It seems like they're going to break up this stable, and it makes perfect sense. Timothy Thatcher, he's been in Evolve for about 2.5 months. They need to call him back up to NXT. I think that would be tremendous. You bring him up back to NXT. You bring him up. Maybe also if Rich Holland is somewhere to be found, because he's probably deep in catering. We haven't seen him in weeks. But maybe bring those guys back into the fold of NXT and have them be the new guys to kind of follow Dempsey's lead. Maybe. I don't know. I really don't, but you got to do something, man. But Tavion Heights is a superb athlete. He needs to be higher on the card. I can definitely see him being North American champion in due time as well, because he would be a really good, solid mid-card guy, maybe even a main event guy in due time as well, with a little bit more seasoning behind him. But yeah, the sky is the limit for Tavion Heights. Moving on. So, Jasper Troy shows up, and he cuts a promo. He put over Obafemi. He just says that he's dominant and he's invincible. He's a titan. He said that he wants his rematch. He's rooting for. I mean, he knows that Oba's rooting for Inamura because he knows what's waiting at the Great American Bash if he gets his hands raised tonight. And then he said he's going to go through Inamura, and then Obafemi, you may be backed by destiny, but your destiny is mine. So I like that. Okay, cool. Moving on, this leads us into Izzy Dame and Tana Paxley defeating Zarya and Soruka. Which is fine. That makes perfect sense. The match was actually quite solid. There was a little bit of miscommunication towards the end of the match. Zarya ended up accidentally spearing Soruka, so which makes a bunch of sense. And then Izzy Dame ended up getting the win via the Sky High. So that's fine there. I actually do like that. And at least this is going to be added to the match card for the Great American Bash. So Ricky Saints, he shows up along with Ethan Page. They're both in Ava's office. So both of them are just bickering back and forth. They're not really saying much of anything important. Basically, the reason why, Ethan says the reason why the Vanity Project is here is because they're here for Ricky's protection, not his. And so Ethan Page says that he's a fighting champion, and he's willing to give Ricky another opportunity, and then Ricky will get another shot if he can beat the Vanity Project in a Vanity Project Gauntlet match next week. So Ricky says he doesn't mind these games Ethan's trying to play, because after he wins this Gauntlet match, he'll choose the stipulation for his championship match, and then Ava just makes the match official. Okay, that's fine. We all know that Ricky's going to win next week. Why would he lose? Hopefully he chooses a match that can end the feud, maybe like a last man standing match, a I Quit match, or a steel cage, something of that note. And that way Ethan can be on the main roster. He's more than ready. He's been ready for quite a few months, if we're being honest. So, there's that. Moving on, we get a Chase U vignette. Tough love is a core teaching method at Chase University, but he wouldn't be able to reopen open it if it wasn't for Kel Dixon and Uriah Connors. So Andre Chase tells Kel that he got him a singles match for next week. Mr. Chase's methods may not be for everybody, but he's willing to change. And then Kel decides to give Mr. Chase a hug. Andre Chase says that he'll be in Kel's corner next week, but he has to listen to him and prove the world that he's going to be Chase U tough. Okay, that's fine there. Good stuff. Chase U's gone soft. I don't like it, but I've always liked Chase U. They've been an act for 4 years. So that's really, really good. This leads us into Joe Hendry. He had a backstage interview with Kelly Kinnaid along with Mike Santana. They're going to beat the High Rise next week, basically, and they both have their eyes set on becoming the TNA World Champion and bringing the gold back home to TNA. So there's that. And then there's going to be a contract signing for the triple threat match to take place at Slammiversary. So Slammiversary is looking pretty good, even though the television for TNA has not been... actually, it's not been bad, but it's been okay. Recently, TNA just got Cedric Alexander, which is great. So that's good there. I expect them to bring in some more guys, like Riley Osborne, probably, maybe B. Priestley and others. So that should be fine. But for this to take place on pay-per-view, a contract signing, I don't like it. But it is what it is. It's fine. Moving on. So this leads us into Ava. She's backstage. No, my bad. Izzy Dame, she's backstage. And Ava walks up to her saying that Izzy's going to face Sol Ruca for the Women's North American Championship at the Great American Bash. And then Hank and Tank, they want revenge for what the Culling did to them last week. So, there's that. And Ava makes a tag team title match official. It's going to be Hank and Tank versus the Culling next week for the NXT Tag Team Championships. Okay, that's fine. I imagine that Hank and Tank are going to lose. It makes perfect sense. I'm starting to like them a little bit. They're starting to grow on me a little bit, so that's fine. Moving on. Jasper Troy is defeated by Inamura. This really pissed me off because this was dumb as shit. I don't understand why Shawn Michaels made this decision, but it is what it is. There's nothing we can do about it. What's done is done. I don't know. Maybe he feels that Jasper Troy needs a little bit more reps under his belt, but come on, man. It's not that important. Like, come on. Obafemi versus Inamura just seems like a TV match, something that you would just put, it would be like the first match to open up the show. But it actually being on pay-per-view, it's going to be the same result. I don't see this being the main event of the Great American Bash. I just don't. That would be dumb to me. That'd be dumb as hell. But whatever. Moving on. So this leads us into... No, my bad. So Javon Evans shows up and he attacked Jasper Troy from behind. He hit a missile drop kick, taking him out. So that's fine there. I was thinking they're going to have a match either next week or at the Great American Bash. Probably next week, if I had to put money on it. Moving on. So Jordynne Grace, she showed up. She was the closing segment of the evening. She basically said she wonders why she's in WWE. She put herself over and everything. She didn't really say much of anything. She said that she's going to beat Jacy Jayne at Evolution. So Jacy Jayne shows up. She didn't really say much of anything. She's tired of everybody thinking that she is a transitional champion or a fluke, that she won the title via fluke. She mentioned that Jordynne and Mariah May are cut from the same cloth. You think that everybody is gonna bow down at your feet? I like that. Fatal Influence will always be here to remind you where you stand in reality check. At Evolution, she's gonna prove. So then basically a brawl breaks out between Jordynne Grace and Jacy Jayne, and then Mariah May makes her return, and then she, along with Jordynne Grace, they clean house of Fatal Influence, and then Ava comes down and she makes a tag match, Fatal Influence versus Jordynne Grace and Mariah May at the Great American Bash, and that was the show. NXT still continues to struggle with their men's division. It's not in a good light, if we're being honest. They could bring guys up from Evolve. They could bring guys up from the main roster, down from the main roster that they don't have plans for, like Carmelo Hayes and Nakamura and guys like that. So there's guys that they could actually bring down. But that is what's killing NXT, though. NXT is still decent. It's still good. But that men's division is killing it bad. When you're using guys like Briggs, Josh Briggs and Inamura to push his guys, that's not good. To move them up on the card, no. Those guys are not it. Those guys don't need to really even be on television, if we're being honest, because they both fucking suck. Let's be real. Same thing with Brooks Jensen. It's the same thing. And we haven't seen him in weeks, and I would assume he'll probably show up next week to probably cost Hank and Tank the tag titles. So maybe that will happen. But, the women's division in NXT is solid. It's straight. But that men's division, it definitely needs some work. It really does. But what did you guys think of NXT? Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.